name is Dr. Esther Trufan, and in this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to record the volume of a solution or a liquid using a graduated cylinder. Graduated cylinders come in many sizes. The most common ones are the 10 milliliter graduated cylinders, and then the 25, 50, and 100 milliliter graduated cylinders will come with gradations of 1 milliliter. The 10 milliliter graduated cylinder may come in two varieties. There is the typically longer one that will have each marking at the 0.1 milliliter, and the other one will come with markings at the 0.2 milliliter. So between the 1 and 2 milliliter marks, you will see 5 markings in the shorter 10 milliliter graduated cylinders, and you will see 10 markings in the longer 10 milliliter graduated cylinders. For all others, usually your markings are either at every 5 or every 10, with smaller markings at every 1 milliliter. So let's record the volume in each one of these. And let's begin with the long 10 milliliter graduated cylinder. In this case, the most important thing is that we record every volume measurement at eye level. So if we have the opportunity to lower ourselves down to have the meniscus of our solution at eye level, we will do so. If we do not, then we need to find a way to raise our graduated cylinder to our comfortable eye level. So as I lower myself down, I will look at the meniscus of my solution, and I notice that it is between the 7.3 and the 7.4 markings. That will be my value for this measurement. However, the next number will be our estimate, or what is known the uncertainty of our value. So in this case, because it is between the 7.3 and 7.4 markings, we need to show that it is a little bit closer to the 7.3. That means that our next number will be anywhere from 0 to 5. And because it's closer to the 7.3, but not exactly at the 7.3 mark, in this case, I'm going to say it is 7.32 to indicate that I am closer to the 7.3 mark than I am to the middle of the gradation between the 7.3 and 7.4. So that is probably one of the easier recordings. It gets a little bit complicated when the markings are not at the every 0.1 milliliter level. The other type of 10 milliliter graduated cylinder comes with larger gradations at every 1 milliliter and smaller gradations at every 0.2 milliliters. And that is the case with this shorter one. First, we're going to ensure that the meniscus of our solution is at our eye level. And there we are. And then we're going to look at where the meniscus is positioned. And we'll notice that it is between 8.2 and 8.4 milliliters. Then we're going to begin estimating. In this case, the meniscus is just below the halfway point between the 8.2 and 8.4. So that means it will be an 8.2 and not an 8.3. So our estimate will go up by 0.2s because it is closer to the bottom than it is to the halfway point between these two. It will be 8.28 milliliters. Finally, we're going to record the volume in a larger graduated cylinder. Most 25, 50, and 100 milliliter graduated cylinders will come with larger gradations at every 10 milliliters and smaller gradations at every 1 milliliter. In that case, we are going to record the volume between the whole milliliter amounts, and our estimate or our uncertainty is going to be the first decimal after the whole number. So in this case, we lower ourselves to have the meniscus of our solution at our eye level, which in this case will be between 33 and 34 milliliters. Now we need to estimate a number that will indicate whether it's closer to the 33 or the 34 milliliter. we're going to take a closer look. And the meniscus is a little bit closer to the 33, but almost to the halfway point between the 33 and 34 milliliters. So at that point, we will say this is 33.3 milliliters. And with that, we know how to record the volume using 3 different graduated cylinders, all of which will be useful because we need to recognize that these instruments of volume measurements are useful for not just knowing the volume that is poured in, but also the volume that is transferred from one container to another.